All right, here we are with credit cards. This is on page 67. Just look for credit cards here. And a couple things you need to understand about credit cards that quite often, but it acts just like a loan, but it's kind of like a loan on demand, right? The credit card, when you have the card and you make purchases on it, that's when the loan kind of starts. And there's usually a grace period, right? So from the time you make the purchase, right? Or actually, let's put it this way: there's a window, a grace-free period, grace-free interest period, and it's usually about 28 days. It varies. And when it starts and ends, it totally depends on your credit card. But there's a start date and an end date. And so any purchases that are made or incurred within that 28-day grace period, right, are usually going to be showing up on a bill, right? And there's a certain amount that you will have to pay. You either pay the whole thing, in which case you don't pay any interest on these purchases. So let's say you make it at the very beginning. You technically have almost a month until you will have to pay for it, because even when this grace period ends, there's a couple of days until this is due. So look, you either pay the whole thing interest free. If you only make the minimum payment, right? If you only make the minimum payment, which is usually like 10% of whatever you owe or what have you, then they start charging you interest. They actually go back to the very beginning of this grace period, and any amount that has been charged on the credit card will be paid interest. So the second bill will actually have the payment, the amount that is due, or interest, I should say, right? Interest, and then the balance, right? How much you owe. There's the second. So obviously there's another 28-day grace period. So those purchases would not be charged interest, but everything here, whatever you owe in the meantime, is charged interest. So you got to watch out for that. Don't think it's a free for all. Okay, it's still money you need to pay back. Anyway, so we have this example here, Shannon. Shannon, let me just get my highlighter here. Shannon's buying a computer that costs this much using a credit card. She can afford regular payments of $125 each month. Two cards to choose from. Quite frequently is credit cards you're going to compare, right? Note the annual fee is added, right? Note that annual fee is added to the first month's balance owing. What is the difference in interest paid between the two cards? So that is a loaded question. We first will have to figure out the interest per card, right? So let's see here. Card A. Let's figure that out. You go ahead and fill that in maybe. You can do that. You can pause it, do this, and see if you get the same answer, right? So we have a compounded month, daily, I should say, with an annual fee of $50. So that would be 8.9 here. Compounded daily, that's 365. It's mentioning that their monthly payments, right, that she can afford. So this is actually 12. In the future, we would like this to be 0. Payments are going away from you. In the present, right now, it doesn't say to add taxes or anything. That's just what was charged to our credit card. Sometimes there's a tax question here and there. So that goes in there. So see how this goes. It didn't explicitly ask us for how long it would take or anything like that. So what I started doing is just type in what I know, right? And so this is my unknown. And once I figure this out, because either you're using the formula for interest or use the function for interest, both of them require TVM solver to be completely solved, right? So we'll figure out n here. And let me just pause this here. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and just going to put 0 in there for now. n, solve it, and it's a decimal, very 8763. And you cannot use the function for interest on this one. So I'm just going to leave it and go to card B already. Maybe I'll go a little card B, do the same thing. See if you can do this already. It's also compounded daily. We're still making monthly payments. Oh, I made a mistake. I need to go back. Sorry, guys. Hopefully you caught it. This one has an annual fee of $50, so it's going to be charged right at the beginning. So good thing I noticed that. That's 1236. So I need to redo this. N is 10.3090, right? 10.3090. Okay, there it is. I like to do 4 decimals because I'm going to use it to calculate my interest later. And so for this example here, future value 0, still making the same payments. This is 1186 plus 25, which gets me to 1211. It charges 14.9% interest. And I'm going to solve for n. Notice that a higher interest rate, a lower annual fee, right? Lower interest rate, higher annual fee. So you want to see if that which one is still better after all those after all the fees are paid and stuff like that. So 14.9 here. This is 1211, and we will just figure this out. What's n? N is 10.3906. So we have everything we need at this point to figure out the interest. So I'll figure out the interest for both cards right here. So remember, to figure out the interest, maybe I'll give you the formula one more time. It would be n times payment, right, minus present value. This is what I would use to figure out the interest paid on a loan. Okay, so we're going to go 10.3090 times 125, because that's our monthly payment, minus 1236. And we get 1288.63. This would be what we paid the bank or the credit card. And we end up paying 52.63 in interest for credit card A. Okay, I'm going to cut this here and do the same thing for credit card B. So that's 10.3906 times 125. And this many payments of 125, which in context, you make 10 payments of 125, and then 0.39 of a payment would be your last payment. So the last payment wouldn't be quite 125. So here is 1211, which gives you 1298.33 minus 1211. And so the interest is 87.83 here for this card. Okay. And so now we can answer that. What is the difference in interest paid between the two cards? So I'm going to do that on the side here. Difference. I'm going to take the 87.83 and minus 52.63. And there's a $35.20 less interest paid with card A. Okay, so there is your final conclusion. So there was a lot of work needed to get there, but you should be comfortable with this by now. And so the interest earned per credit card, you should also be comfortable with that. Could not use the function because we have decimals here. okay? You don't want to round that. Okay, so for this example 5, okay, we've got we're buying furniture on a credit card. They make monthly payments, right? Monthly payments of 75. Two credit cards options. Which one should they choose? And it's always, I would say, less interest paid overall. The furniture store credit card. So often a store like Home Depot and Canadian Tire, they have their own credit card. There's $100 rebate off. There's an interest rate of 18.7 compounded daily. The other one has an interest rate of 15.4, but there's no interest for the first year. That's how this is unique, this example here. Okay, so option A, you pause this and try it. NI, future value, PY, and CY. Compounded daily, that's very typical of credit card questions. You're making monthly payments. Let the future value be 0. Payments will be 75. We're told that. Present value is 1,075, right? But in this case, we will use that rebate, right? We're going to go minus 100 to get 975, okay? The rebate here. And interest is 18.7. So the only thing left for us to solve for is N in this case. And let's do that. Everything else stays the same. Alpha solve, that's 14.6542. 14.6542. So I can't use my sum of interest function, so I'm going to go straight to option B here. NIPV, future value, PY and CY. Still compounded daily, still the same. Monthly payments, 0. We're making $75 payments. And the present value is 1,075. No interest for how we're going to deal with that, you may ask. Well, here's the interest rate, and that's where N comes in. Okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to figure out, like, you're basically making, if no interest for the first year, right, that tells you that you're making 12 payments times $75, right? And the entire $75 will go towards paying off what you owe them. So we're going to go 12 times 75. That's $900. The first year, the $900 will be taken and subtracted from this amount. Okay, there is no interest happening in between. So it's as if you owe them $175, right, at the end of the year. Right? This is how much you paid in the first year. And we would say it all goes towards the principal you owe, right? And so it's only the 175 that we're going to start using the TVM solver for to pay that off, that remaining balance. This would be like starting on the 13th month. So we solve for that. I hope that makes sense. Oh, I don't know why I do that. Everything else stays the same. So that's 2.3845, right? That's my N there. And you can probably tell already that option B is going to be the better one, but let's do the calculations for interest. Interest here would be 14.6542 times the 75 minus the 975. That's what you end up borrowing, right? The interest is 1,099.07 minus 975. So it's $124.07. Here it's 2.3845, right? Times $75 minus 175. That's 178.84 minus 175, because that's what you, right? We only consider the 175 because it's only at that point that interest has started to be charged. Okay, so that's 384. Right? Option B is the best option. Okay, so let me see here. I might find a credit card question to assign. No, that's everything. So I would just say I posted the video for the examples before this, the 2 pages before this. So if you didn't do that, just catch up on that. That's it.